The spaceship, a silver glimmer against the velvet night sky, crash-landed in a field outside of Austin, Texas. 3 alien girls, Lyra, Vega, and Celeste, tumbled out, their large, iridescent eyes wide with fear and wonder. They were refugees from a dying planet, their escape pod malfunctioning, leaving them stranded on this strange new world. The air was thick with the scent of unfamiliar flora, the sounds of unseen creatures filling the night. They huddled together, their delicate, almost translucent hands intertwined, their hearts pounding in unison. Lyra, the eldest, with hair like spun moonlight, took charge. She knew they had to blend in, to survive. Using their advanced technology, they altered their appearance, cloaking their otherworldly beauty. Their shimmering skin took on the tones of earthly humans, their eyes, a vibrant kaleidoscope of colors, softened to earthly hues. Their once vibrant, shimmering clothes transformed into simple, nondescript garments. They were alone, lost, and utterly terrified, yet a glimmer of hope flickered in their hearts. They had survived. They were alive, and they would find a way, no matter what. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. The passage of time felt surreal, as if they were caught in a never-ending loop of uncertainty and fear. Each sunrise brought a new set of challenges, and each sunset left them with more questions than answers. The girls, relying on their resourcefulness and advanced technology, managed to stay hidden. They had to be constantly vigilant, always on the lookout for any signs of danger. Their gadgets, though advanced, were not infallible, and the fear of being discovered was a constant companion. Their universal translator, a small silver disc worn on their wrists, helped them decipher the strange new language. This device was their lifeline, allowing them to understand and communicate in a world that was completely alien to them. Without it, they would have been lost, unable to navigate the complexities of their new environment. Food, however, was a problem. The scarcity of familiar sustenance was a daily struggle. They had to make do with what little they could find, often going hungry. The local food was strange and unpalatable, and their bodies rejected it more often than not. Their alien metabolism struggled to adapt to earthly sustenance. Each meal was a gamble, a test of their resilience. They tried different foods, hoping to find something that wouldn't make them ill, but their options were limited. They were weakening, their hope dwindling with each passing day. The physical toll was evident, but the emotional strain was even greater. They missed their home, their families, and the life they once knew. The weight of their situation was almost unbearable. One day, driven by desperation, Lyra stumbled upon a solution. A help-wanted sign outside a sprawling mansion. It was a glimmer of hope in their otherwise bleak existence. The sign was simple, yet it represented a chance for survival. Maid service needed, it read. The words were a lifeline, offering a way to earn money and perhaps find some stability. It wasn't the life they had envisioned, but it was a start. It wasn't ideal, but it was a chance at survival. They knew they had to take it, no matter the cost. The decision was unanimous. They would apply for the job and do whatever it took to blend in. They could blend in, earn money, and perhaps one day, find a way to contact their people. The job would provide them with the means to survive and the opportunity to gather information about this new world. With a mix of trepidation and determination, they approached the imposing front door, the weight of their situation pressing down on them. The mansion was grand, a stark contrast to their current state of destitution. The mansion belonged to the Vance family, a name synonymous with wealth and influence. The Vances were known for their opulence and their strict household rules. Mrs. Vance, a stern woman with a sharp tongue, hired them on the spot. She was impressed by their demeanor and their willingness to work hard. Little did she know, their efficiency was a result of their advanced civilization. Their alien efficiency and meticulous nature, a byproduct of their advanced civilization, made them model employees. They worked tirelessly, their precision and attention to detail unmatched. They scrubbed, dusted, and polished, their hearts heavy with longing for their home, their minds abuzz with the strangeness of this new world. Each task was a reminder of their predicament, but also a step towards their ultimate goal of finding a way back home. Life in the Vance mansion was a stark contrast to their own world. The grandeur and extravagance of the estate were overwhelming, a constant reminder of the material wealth that defined this new environment. Every corner of the mansion seemed to scream opulence, from the intricately designed ceilings to the lush, sprawling gardens that surrounded the property. The opulence, the sheer abundance of material possessions, was both fascinating and bewildering. They marveled at the ornate furniture, the priceless art pieces adorning the walls, and the dazzling chandeliers that lit up the rooms with a golden glow. It was a world where luxury was not just a privilege but a way of life. Back home, their society had transcended such material needs, focusing instead on knowledge, exploration, and the interconnectedness of all beings. Their cities were designed with sustainability in mind, blending seamlessly with nature. Intellectual pursuits and communal harmony were the cornerstones of their existence, a stark contrast to the individualistic and materialistic culture they now found themselves in. They observed the family's dynamics with a detached curiosity, the distant, workaholic father, the perpetually dissatisfied mother, and the son, Julian, who seemed lost amidst the wealth and privilege. The Vance family, despite their riches, appeared to be struggling with their own set of challenges, their interactions often marked by a palpable sense of disconnection. Julian, a young man seemingly adrift in a sea of privilege, was a puzzle to them. He often retreated into his own world, seeking solace in the quiet corners of the mansion. His eyes, though filled with the trappings of wealth, held a certain sadness, a longing for something more meaningful. Julian, unlike his parents, treated them with kindness. He saw past their subservient roles, engaging them in conversations about their work, their lives, their interests. His genuine curiosity and warmth were a breath of fresh air in an otherwise stifling environment. He saw past their subservient roles, engaging them in conversations about their work, their lives, their interests. He was particularly fascinated by Lyra, her quiet intelligence and gentle demeanor captivating him. He would often find excuses to linger, asking about her home planet, her dreams, her fears. He was particularly fascinated by Lyra, her quiet intelligence and gentle demeanor captivating him. She was different from anyone he had ever met, her presence a soothing balm to his restless soul. Their conversations, though often brief, were filled with depth and understanding. He would often find excuses to linger, asking about her home planet, her dreams, her fears. Lyra, in turn, found herself opening up to him, sharing stories of her advanced civilization, their peaceful existence, and the devastating ecological disaster that had forced them to flee. Each interaction brought them closer, their bond growing stronger with every shared word. With each interaction a bond began to form, a connection that transcended their vastly different worlds. Julian found solace in Lyra's presence, her wisdom and compassion a guiding light in his otherwise tumultuous life. Their relationship, though unconventional, was a testament to the power of understanding and empathy. The girls, touched by Julian's genuine interest, found themselves opening up to him. They shared stories of their advanced civilization, their peaceful existence, and the devastating ecological disaster that had forced them to flee. Julian, in turn, confided in them his own feelings of isolation, his longing for a life of purpose beyond the gilded cage of his family's wealth. They shared stories of their advanced civilization, their peaceful existence, and the devastating ecological disaster that had forced them to flee. Julian in turn confided in them his own feelings of isolation, his longing for a life of purpose beyond the gilded cage of his family's wealth. Their shared vulnerability forged a bond of friendship, a beacon of warmth in their otherwise uncertain existence. Julian in turn confided in them his own feelings of isolation, his longing for a life of purpose beyond the gilded cage of his family's wealth. He spoke of his dreams, his fears, and his desire to make a difference in the world. The maids, in their own way, became his confidants, their shared experiences creating a bond that transcended their roles and societal expectations. Their shared vulnerability forged a bond of friendship, a beacon of warmth in their otherwise uncertain existence. In the grand halls of the Vance mansion, amidst the opulence and wealth, a small but significant connection was formed. It was a reminder that despite their differences they were all searching for the same thing, understanding, connection, and a sense of belonging. Julian Vance, despite his family's immense wealth and the privileges that came with it, felt like a bird trapped in a gilded cage. The opulence that surrounded him, the grand halls and luxurious rooms, all seemed to close in on him, making him feel more isolated than ever. His days were filled with a monotonous cycle of social obligations, meaningless pursuits, and a profound sense of emptiness. The high society events, the lavish parties, and the endless stream of acquaintances did little to fill the void within him. Each event felt like a performance, a role he was forced to play, leaving him drained and unfulfilled. He yearned for something more, a sense of purpose that eluded him in the sterile environment of his upbringing. The grand, empty mansion with its echoing silence only amplified his feelings of loneliness. He often found himself wandering through its vast corridors, lost in thought, searching for a meaning that seemed just out of reach. The arrival of the new maids with their quiet efficiency and air of melancholy intrigued him. They moved through the house with a grace and purpose that he envied. Their presence brought a subtle change to the atmosphere, a hint of life in an otherwise lifeless environment. There was a depth to them, a hidden sadness in their eyes that resonated with his own. He saw in them a reflection of his own inner turmoil, a shared sense of longing and loss. This unspoken connection drew him to them, particularly to one maid in particular. He found himself drawn to Lyra, her quiet grace and intelligence a stark contrast to the vapid socialites he was forced to entertain. Her presence was a breath of fresh air in his stifling world. She moved with a quiet confidence, her every action purposeful and deliberate. Her stories of a world where knowledge and compassion reigned, where technology served to enhance life rather than complicate it, fascinated him. She spoke of places and ideas that were foreign to him, yet they resonated deeply within him. Her words painted a picture of a life that was rich in meaning and purpose, a stark contrast to his own existence. He was captivated by her strength, her resilience in the face of unimaginable loss. She had faced hardships that he could scarcely imagine, yet she remained unbroken. Her strength inspired him, giving him hope that he too could find a way to overcome his own struggles. He saw in her a kindred spirit, a fellow traveler searching for meaning in a world that often seemed devoid of it. Their shared moments of quiet conversation, their mutual understanding, created a bond that transcended the barriers of their different worlds. As he got to know Lyra better, he began to question his own privileged existence. Her perspective on life, her values and her dreams made him reevaluate his own. He started to see his wealth not as a blessing, but as a burden that kept him from truly living. The vast fortune he stood to inherit felt like a burden, a symbol of his own purposelessness. The weight of his family's expectations, the pressure to conform to a life he did not choose, became increasingly unbearable. He felt trapped, suffocated by the very things that were supposed to bring him happiness. He longed to break free from the suffocating expectations of his family, to find his own path, to make a difference in the world. The desire to live a life of purpose, to contribute something meaningful, grew stronger with each passing day. He knew that he had to make a change, to take control of his own destiny. Lyra, with her quiet wisdom and unwavering spirit, became his confidant, her presence a catalyst for his own self-discovery. She listened without judgment, offering insights that helped him see his life from a new perspective. Her support gave him the courage to face his fears and to start the journey towards finding his true self.